I've always liked German watches, and this brand, Circula, from Germany, it's actually a small family business that's been around for about 60 years. And not many people have heard of this company, and yet they produce some really excellent tool-specific watches. And what I've got in my hand here is a DiveSport Titanium, and it's been pretty impressive on the wrist throughout the week. And with its 500 meters of water resistance, premium Swiss movement, as well as its excellent superluminova, I have nothing but a lot of praise for a watch like this. Now, it's not a perfect watch. I found one or two areas that could offer room for improvement. And I've got to tell you, as a fan of Sinn watches, which are tool specific, if you're in the market for a dive style watch, I think this is another brand to consider because it's not as expensive as a Sinn, but it seems to offer quite a few bells and whistles and really well engineered. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's check out this Circula DiveSport Titanium. Now, it's always a pleasure to get a watch on the channel that's actually made really well, and a lot of the German watches that I've been getting, that's exactly what they are. They're made really well, and this one here is no different. It's a traditional brand from Pforzheim in Germany. The quality, I can feel the quality, I can see the quality, and the icing on the cake, it's not that expensive, which I think is pretty good for what you're getting in the hand here. Now, there are 4 areas on this watch that I found room for improvement, and I want to share that with you guys. They really haven't been a deal breaker for me because the watch at the end of the day has really outperformed my expectations. Now, you saw the pop-up. This video is sponsored by Circula, so I will of course leave a link in the description if this watch interests you and you want to check it out. And diving straight into the dimensions of this watch, I measure a case diameter of 42mm with a case height of 14. That lug to lug is 47.8 and a lug width of 20. Now, the crown is a 7mm signed screw down crown. The watch offers 500 meters of water resistance, and the total weight on the bracelet, sized to my 18cm wrist, comes in at exactly 130 grams, and on the rubber strap at 90. And I've got to tell you, one of the things that I've experienced all week, it's been comfortable. It's been a very legible experience and a very comfortable feel on the wrist. It honestly feels like a premium watch, and something that little bit better. And you can feel it in its bezel action, the crown feel, the latch down experience. They've all been exactly what you'd expect from a very well engineered German watch, and in that area I've got zero complaints. Now, that bracelet is a grade 2 titanium. It's hardened, it's really well designed, it's got screw pins, as you can see, a fully milled swivel, a blanked clasp with 3 micro adjustments. There is absolutely no marks anywhere on this bracelet. I've not babied this watch throughout the week. I've used it as a desk diver. I've tried to scratch it up purposely, especially underneath that clasp. There's no marks. So really well done in that department. And turning the watch over, you can see there's a solid titanium caseback. It says, as you can see, Swiss movement, made in Germany, 500 meters of water resistance. And the workhorse that's running this watch is an Elaboré grade Sellita SW200. They actually adjust the movement to -5 to +7 seconds a day in Pforzheim in Germany. And this one here has been running at +3 seconds exactly. So as a solid, reliable, and a very well made watch, I think this is ticking quite a few boxes so far. Now, you notice the bezel on this watch, it's black, and it's made from titanium grade 2 and it's DLC coated. Again, scratch resistant up to 1200 Vickers. And it's a 120 click unidirectional bezel. It goes in one direction. The knurling, both on that crown and on that bezel, are exceptional. And the action, as you'd expect from a titanium watch, let's check it out. That is ridiculously loud, seriously. It's very tool specific, just the right amount of backplay if you get any grit and grime that needs to be washed out. And it lines up beautifully. A very reassuring feel coming off that bezel. Now, the crystal on this watch is excellent here. It's a slight double dome sapphire with anti-reflective coating on the underside, and because of that matte black dial, the clarity has been second to none. Whatever lighting condition I've put this watch in, I've enjoyed the clarity and the legibility of that handset and those markers. It's been superb. So as a dive watch, this needs to be crystal clear, and this is crystal clear, pun intended. And speaking of clarity, what about that lume? Well, this particular unit offers 2 different types of lume, both Swiss Superluminova BGW9 and C3X1. And again, in this area, this watch excels. I really got to give this watch high praise in this department. It is clear, clean, really well applied, And that minute hand being thicker than the hour hand, it's so easy to line that up with your inverted triangle, that loom pip on the bezel, and get a very easy read in any lighting condition. So again, high praise in the loom department. Now before I tell you guys about the room for improvements, what's the price? Well, on the rubber strap, the watch comes in at €906, which is around $1,480 Australian or 960 USD. Now that's pretty good, all things considered, because the watch that I've got in my hands actually feels really incredible. The finish, the execution, the engineering behind it, it's not a cheaply made watch. Now I believe if you opt to buy the titanium bracelet, that price comes up to $10.91, which, from my understanding, you also get the rubber strap included when you buy the titanium bracelet. So that's not bad at all. And on that note, what are my gripes of this watch? The obvious one for me is that clasp. There's no toolless micro adjustment. It offers 3 micro adjustments. I love the fact that they've gone the extra mile and included 1200 Vickers hardness coating on the bracelet as well as that case. But it would have been nice to have a toolless micro adjustment here. And being a Sin fan for many years, honestly, Sin has only just released an on-the-fly adjustment class this year. And that's a 60-plus-year-old company as well. So whether the Germans don't see a need for a toolless micro adjustment all these years, or whether they're a little bit late to the party, well, that's something to mention here. A second gripe, or little niggle here for me, has been the way I've had to read the time on that dial. Because I've had to adjust the way I look at this watch. Normally I'm used to seeing a thicker hour hand and a thinner minute hand, and in this case it's reversed. Now as a diver, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant, because that minute hand is the important one. But as a time reading device, the mind's had to say, oh, hang on, that's not the hour hand, that's the hour hand. So just something to get used to. So I'm mentioning it here for you guys. It's been a bit of a learning curve, because most of the dive watches that I've experienced don't come with a thicker minute hand. And in here, it is more tool specific, which is again what this watch is intended for. Next gripe, looking at the rubber strap, it's integrated, it's great, but the internal distance that a wrist can fit in there, that's something to take consideration of, because it doesn't actually bend down anymore. So the distance that you see between here and here, the internal distance is around 49.6 mil. Now you can squeeze it, or not really, because it just falls straight down. So if you have got a smaller wrist, something that's smaller than 49.6, it might wobble inside your wrist, that gap in there. So it's probably a better option to wear this on the bracelet, because the bracelet wears absolutely beautifully. But on a wetsuit, I think this watch will wear absolutely superb. And my fourth and last gripe, well, this is a bit of a personal one, guys, because when I first saw the watch on their website, as you look at the dial, as you look at that bezel, the bezel for me, the color of the actual loom plots, they looked more in tune with that handset. And what I've got here in the hand, the bezel looks a little bit more green. It's not a deal breaker because the loom is excellent, but I just thought from their renders, from their website, that loom color matched that handset. It just looked a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. But in saying that, they do also have different colorways available of this particular watch. Scrolling through their website, you can see there's quite a few interesting colorways. The black one with the orange accents that I've got in my hand, that actually caught my attention, and I wanted to get hands on with it, and it has not disappointed as far as a very well made, very well engineered piece. Extremely high quality feel coming off that bezel as well as that crown. And as I mentioned, I've not babied this watch at all, so there's no scratches on the watch throughout the week. That's been a real pleasure. And the overall weight at 130 grams on that bracelet on my 18cm wrist has been a joy. So overall, the word that I get, or the word that I come away with from this watch, is performance. Really, it's an excellent performer for its intended use as a diver. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think about this watch, if you've had experience with this brand, Circula. Some pronounce it Circula. I don't know. I'm an Aussie, so I pronounce it Circula. But nonetheless, the watch has been great. The experience has been good. I think the price for what you're getting from a German, well-made, well-engineered watch is exactly where it needs to be. It's not overly hyped or too expensive, but you're getting a really well-made, finished and engineered piece. Thanks again for watching. Be well. Enjoy the watch that's on your wrist. And we'll see you in the next one.